reaction that you want to receive when you have unconsciously or unintentionally interrupted someone when they were talking to you. Yeah, didn't think so. So what I talked about in my last video was why sometimes when we're having a conversation in a professional setting, whether it's a corporate setting or even what I talk about on for part of my coaching business, which is the patient and healthcare provider interaction, more often than not, interruptions are inevitable. So that's why we have to have like a framework of a more appropriate way to learn how to interrupt in an effective and appropriate way, and at the same time being aware of what not to do when you're trying to or have to interrupt somebody. Now I'm going to go into what to do in terms of the do's of interrupting effectively next week, but today I thought we would touch on what are the don'ts essentially of interrupting someone during a conversation. So imagine that yourself as the healthcare professional and you're talking either to your patient or you're talking to one of your colleagues or in a meeting. So all these scenarios apply to interruptions. So let's get started. So the number one thing to not do is to talk louder than the person who's talking, because that obviously doesn't get you anywhere. It becomes a screaming match. It also eventually becomes a power struggle, and it's very disrespectful as well. And that people feel the need to get their point across, and there are ways of doing it which we'll explore next week. The important thing is that you do it in a respectful and effective way. So talking over somebody does nothing but create a noisy, chaotic environment, and also it's very disrespectful and offensive, so please don't do it.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Number one. Number two, try not to talk over them. So talking over them is basically that person saying something, and for example they're going on and on about something, and you just go, oh, you know, and so you sort of take it up a notch and bring it or take it onto a different tangent some other way. So that again is a big no-no. So trying to talk over them is very, very frowned upon in every part of the world. So we are taught since we were young kids to not talk over our teachers and not talk over our elders. The lessons shouldn't change just because you are now an adult, so it remains pretty much the same. So not talking over is number two. Now, number three would be try not to cut them off. Now, when I say try, I literally mean just don't do it. But again, I'm saying it in a nice, polite way over here. So do not cut them off. Now, cutting off is something that I am quite guilty of when I speak to my patients. Sometimes, and the reason for that is because, and I'm not justifying myself, I'm not making excuses for it, it's never okay to do that. I think unconsciously what can happen is that my work is quite high pressure, and it is quite intense, and you have to be well concentrated and you have to be on the ball at all times. So it is important that you have to do things in an efficient manner. But at the same time, you have to make sure that you let the patient say what they're trying to say, and take mental notes, or obviously note down somewhere what the conversation was. If you have to get more clarity, you can come back to that, and obviously that is something we'll explore in a bit more detail. But that is what the second point is, to not cut them off. So when they're trying to say something, don't just butt in and say whatever you have to say, even if you think you may have something quite important and significant to contribute to the conversation. So that is number three. And number four, be very mindful and careful of your body language. So some of the things that we tend to do, like I brought up last week, if you're trying to do this, that is very, very offensive anyway. And these are things I'm talking about that are a little bit more unintentional. So if you're in a position where you are sort of staring at them, and it's almost looking like you're trying to jump out of the seat a little bit, and you're really trying to, move forward, lean forward. So all those things, all those postures, that is what is an indicator that you have to really get something off your chest, even before what the other person says. So that is also, be very, very mindful of that. So don't be in a tense sort of position where you are literally on the edge, you know, having this, you know, rush of adrenaline coming into on you. You become all fight and flight. So have a more relaxed body language. Don't tense up and don't just jump the gun. So having the appropriate body language and being aware of what we may be doing to our body language that can be perceived as offensive, inappropriate, and threatening in many instances as well, is a good way to avoid any interruptions and the consequences of interrupting. So those are the 4 key tips in this video that I covered on how to not interrupt during a conversation. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that obviously in certain situations, depending on the scenario, you may be allowed to interrupt. So people can say, you know, if you if you have any questions, feel free to jump in and ask at any time. So you have to bear that in mind, and that may give you a bit of leeway as to when and how much you can interrupt. However, if it clearly says that please leave questions and comments till the very end, do stick to that. So that is, again, and in many cases, the etiquette and the decorum, which my last post was about on LinkedIn, it's something that you have to, in many ways, read the room and also be a little bit culturally sensitive, whether you're working with people of a certain ethnic group or working in a corporate setting that's more formal or less formal. It is very context-based. So those are also a couple of more things to bear in mind. So just to wrap things up, my name is Shweta. I am the founder of Healthy Dynamics. We are a coaching practice that helps healthcare professionals from non-English speaking countries who work closely with patients improve their communication skills in order to build better relationships with their patients and colleagues, and to stand out in the workplace and become excellent at their craft. So another big update, now all my videos are on this YouTube channel. So all the videos that I did in the past have now been moved to this YouTube channel, and for you to get more content on my videos, you need to subscribe and like this video and to be in the loop of everything. Obviously, everything else, I'll be posting little clips of it on LinkedIn. But if you want to watch my videos in more detail and more frequently, this is the place to be. So don't forget to hit the subscribe bell button and the notification bell so that you get to know when the next video is coming up. And it will be on a weekly basis, so I will be making videos every week, and we release them at different times, but it will be on a weekly basis. So stay tuned for next week's video. We're going to talk about the do's of how to interrupt effectively. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe, share, comment, and hit the notification bell to see more videos and stay updated on the content that I'm posting. Leave your thoughts and comments in the description box below, and thank you for your time and attention, and I will see you next week, same time. Cheers.